Welcome to episode 5 of the Soccer Pill videocast on Google Hangouts. And today we're going to be discussing how the EPL season has gone so far. It started with a bang. We've already had a few upsets yesterday, three new managers, three new clubs, a lot to play for. Kunal, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're totally right. Couldn't wait for the season to start, and now that the season has started, there have been some interesting, movements in terms of both transfers as well as how teams have started out playing. And one team which, at least in the first week, I've been most impressed by, not surprisingly, because I was expecting them to play well, is Man City, right? I mean, the way they played against Newcastle, a new look Man City with a new manager, but they pretty much decimated Newcastle. Obviously, Newcastle helped the things by the fact that they were down to 10 men. But notwithstanding that fact, I think City did look the real deal, and Chelsea did manage to win both the matches. However, in both the matches, I think there was a similar pattern in the sense that they faded out, after starting very brightly, scoring some early goals, and as they entered the second half, not so much in the Hull game, but certainly in the Aston Villa game, they really were lucky and hanging on to the to the one goal lead which they had, and I think as Marino rightly said, I think Chelsea was lucky to get away with it. A draw wouldn't have been an unfair result, as I put it. Arsenal, unfortunately, didn't start off on a very bright note against Aston Villa. Again, I think there were a few contentious referee decisions which did not help them. But after that, at least, I think they've done well. They had a good game in the midweek for the Champions League qualifiers. And yesterday they saw off Fulham pretty comfortably. I think they managed to beat Fulham fairly and squarely. I think they were pretty dominant. Ramsey, for a change, played really well, and again, United also did play well against Swansea. 4-1, pretty comfortable winners. Van Persie, again, the man to go. So I think it's been a pretty interesting start. What did you think of the United game, the first game at least, Vikram?
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable. Honestly, I didn't see us playing the way we could. I thought Canas had too much space to run around in the midfield. They dominated the midfield, Swansea, but they couldn't finish. We won't be that
Correct.
lucky against Man City or Chelsea or Liverpool after yesterday, what I saw from Liverpool. So I think United, we got lucky with a good start. I thought the two goals from Van Persie were individually brilliant, and the only true United goal was the one scored by Welbeck. That's how United play. They pass around and shoot from the 16-yard box. Uh, I think Chelsea will test them. They will ask some serious questions, and I don't know if we'll have all the answers.
Yeah, so the Monday game is going to be an interesting one. Again, I really don't know if it will have any bearing on the final outcome for the season, because this game is too early, to have any bearing on the outcome of the overall season. But it certainly will show us, how the teams stack up against each other. Chelsea still has a lot of unanswered questions as far as the striker is concerned. I think Mourinho started with Torres in the Hull game and Dembaba in the Aston Villa game. As expected, none of them were impressive. In fact, I actually think Lukaku did much more in the 20 minutes which he got against Villa than what Dembaba did in the whole of 70 minutes. And I, for one, certainly believe that probably Lukaku will start against United, because I think certainly is our best striking option currently. And I'll not be surprised if Marino starts with Lukaku in the United game. And but other than that, I think what is the other thing which is going to be very interesting from a Chelsea perspective is this whole Juan Mata and the speculation which is going on around that. It it
Yeah,
certainly doesn't help. I just can't believe that he's constantly being dragged into this whole thing, because he's been our player of the season for 2 years, and 2 years he's been at Chelsea. I mean, that's a phenomenal record. But even against Aston Villa when he started, I think Mourinho put put him on the right side of a front three, playing behind the striker, which I certainly don't think is his favored position, and he's definitely not as effective as he will be if he plays in a typical number 10, just behind the striker, which is where he played the whole of last season. And playing him out on the right, out wide on the right, or even on the left, does not make him as effective as he would. But for some reason, I have this feeling that Mourinho probably sees Oscar as his number 10 and not so much Mata. Uh, don't ask me why, because I just can't get around the fact that, Mata did everything that he could ask for, right, last season.
Right.
And I think as we've been discussing, I think the only reason I think Marino doesn't see Mata as his favorite number 10 is because Mata probably is not, as fast as a Hazard or a Schürrle, or, he doesn't have that pace. And Marino sometimes thinks that he doesn't kind of, fall back enough. He doesn't help a lot as far as defending is concerned. But I mean, these are, okay, pace is one thing, but, defending and something is, I mean, that can be taught. I mean, I don't think there is anything which is too difficult there. And even if you look at his Real Madrid side, Mesut Ozil, I think, is a very, very similar player to Mata. Somebody who's perfect in that number 10 position, gives him that beautiful assist, passes, sees the pass. And even Ozil isn't that great when it comes to either his pace or his defending. But at one point, Marino said that Ozil is the best playmaker in the world. So I just can't get around the fact that, what is it that he sees wrong with Mata. And so I, for one, will be hoping that, Mata starts against United. And if he does start, Marino plays him in his, favorite number 10 position. But striking and this whole where Mata plays, I think, are two unresolved issues for Chelsea going into the United game. So from United's perspective, Vikram, what do you think are the main concerns going into this game?
See, I don't think there is a concern as such. It is given that they will concede the midfield to Chelsea. It's just that United will make Chelsea pay in the box, and that's what the game is going to be all about. So Chelsea, I assume, will be doing a lot of running around, the smart crosses, but given Van Persie's style and Welbeck's form, they will be hoping to score first. And a certain Mr. Rooney will definitely start, and he'll be out there to prove a point to everybody. So you might have a rampaging Rooney in the midfield. Now I don't know, I don't know how that how that works out for both sides. He's really a very well built player. You don't want him marshalling the midfield. We might see the referee play a very important role, and I will not be surprised if we see a red card for either side.
Yeah, and I was reading, surprisingly, it is Martin Atkinson who was going to referee the game, and it was Martin Atkinson's game in which Ferguson got one of the longest touchline bans. So I'm sure United fans are already wary about that. But I think keeping apart the referee thing, I also think that on the back of his performance against Swansea, Rooney certainly deserves a start, and he surely will start to prove a point to Chelsea, maybe to up their offer a little bit more. But I think as far as Rooney is concerned, whatever Chelsea does, I don't think is going to be enough. I've always believed from the first day when this whole saga started that I don't think United is going to sell to Chelsea. They absolutely don't want to sell to a rival club, and which might come back and hit them in the face towards the end of the season if Chelsea manages to win. But I think it'll be a very interesting game. As far as predictions go, Vikram, what do you think?
2-1 to Chelsea.
Oh, after all that, you think Chelsea will win?
I have a feeling Chelsea's going to win.
Okay, all right. No, so I think I'm sitting on the fence. I think this is a perfect game for a 1-1 because nobody wants to lose. Moyes, for the fact that this is his first United game, and I don't know, but I just have this feeling that he might be a little more cagey, given the fact that you don't want to lose. And I think Marino going away from home to United will not mind a draw. And I think even his team selection will be I think Ramirez and Lampard. And in case if we go probably one up, he will bring in somebody like a Mikel or a Van Ginkel, to shore up the midfield. And I think Mourinho is going to be happy with the draw. Is just what I feel. He also won't probably gamble at all, and I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
United and Chelsea have played what 5 matches last year in all competitions. 20 goals were
Mm-hmm.
scored. I
Uh-huh.
don't think a draw is going to happen. It's not going to happen. And the most successful United player against Chelsea is Javier Hernandez.
Correct, correct,
So I think he's going to play. I have a feeling he's going to play. Though Moyes is saying he has a hamstring or something that he picked up while playing for the friendly at Mexico. Uh,
okay,
the thing about United and Chelsea and Man City are they're good finishers. At least Man City and United have proved that they can finish, and Chelsea can finish too. A lot of the things that dodge some of the other clubs is they're not good at finishing. They're great at making all these wonderful passes. They move up to the third half of the field, and then they're not able to do
correct,
anything about it. So
correct.
United and Chelsea are not like that, and they're gonna score. If Torres doesn't score, one of the midfielders will score, and from here the strikers are in good position, good form to score. So I don't think a draw is going to happen. I think it's good. There's going to be a definite result here,
All right, okay.
unless
So
there's a
we,
unless there's a card. Seriously, if there's a red card, one team goes down to 10 men, so they might pull everybody back and defend. That's the only way.
right, right. So interesting that you said about other teams. So the other thing which we wanted to do today is actually make some predictions for the rest of the season, and we're going to do pretty simple. Who we think are going to end up as the champions for Premier League, and which other three teams are going to make it to the Champions League, and we can probably do who the Champions League winners are going to be. I know it's pretty early. The transfer window is still open, and given that if some of these transfers do happen, for example, a Rooney to Rooney to Chelsea, which might change our predictions. But given that the season has started, and from whatever 1 or 2 weeks, rather 1 or 2 matches which we've seen for almost all the teams, we thought it's a good time to at least make our predictions in terms of some of these results which we see. So Vikram, who do you think? Who's your favorite for winning the Premier League?
I would say Chelsea. Um,
Okay,
Only for one reason. Man City may have the firepower, and they definitely have a very aggressive manager, but it takes more than firepower and aggressiveness to win a league. I think Mourinho is the right package to win it. He can play mind games, he can be strategic, he can be selective, he can be ruthless as well. Just based on experience, and it's a mechanism, it's a process. You win a league by process. You don't win it
correct.
on basis of star players. If you had won it on star players, then probably Arsenal would be sitting still on top of the league. I mean, some time ago. But I think Mourinho has understood the process. He's done it across three or four countries, 3 or 4 leagues. I think he'll be a very strong contender to win this league.
Okay. So my favorites for the title is Man City, purely because of the fact on the strength of the squad. I think they're pretty well stocked in terms of their forward line with Zeko, Aguero, Negredo, even Jovetic can play there, and even their creative midfielders. I think David Silva, Jovetic, who can play there. They've got Samir Nasri, who no longer is probably a first choice now. And they've got pretty, in Jesus Navas, they've got somebody who can actually, play as a pure and, out and out winger, who can hug the touch line and put in the crosses for someone like a Negredo or a Zeko. So they've got pretty impressive squad. They can change it a bit. They can play 4-2-3-1. They can go 4-3-3, or they can play 4-4-2 like they did, I think, in the first game against Newcastle, where Seco and Aguero both started, and they had wingers in Navas on the right side. So I think with Yaya Toure and Fernandinho, marshalling the troops from the base of the midfield. So I think they've got a pretty impressive squad. And that's the reason I would think City are my favorites for the title, and the only reason I think Chelsea will struggle and I don't see them as a genuine title contenders is purely because of the fact that I think they're a striker short. If we do manage to sign a striker before end of the window, then probably we might look at our predictions once again. But for now, I certainly think that City is the favorites for the title. And so, Vikram, the other question was, who do you think will make up, the remaining Champions League spots, number 2, 3, and 4?
I say Man City, United, and based on what I've seen, the little bit I've seen, I have a fancy that Liverpool might sneak into the top four. It's
Ah, no, you'll
just
not.
it. No, it's just that see they're grinding out results. Yesterday, the match against Aston Villa was not easy. Obviously,
Right.
Villa did not know what to do with the ball most of the time. But the only few chances Liverpool got, they scored. Daniel Sturridge scored that beautiful goal again.
Yep,
They
absolutely.
did the same thing with Stoke. So
Correct.
I have a feeling this is the first time in what 9 years that Liverpool has won back-to-back matches,
Ah, something
and
like some
eh,
stat like that. Correct.
some stat like that. I was listening to it yesterday. So I have a feeling that fourth elusive slot could go to Liverpool just right now. I mean, it also depends on how badly Tottenham and Arsenal play. Arsenal, you saw Arsenal, right? You lose one match, you win one match, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
You can't even predict
Correct.
what they're going to do next.
Correct. Correct. No, and I agree. So, even for the remaining three, I think I'll go with, Chelsea, probably Chelsea, United, and again, I think Spurs probably, given the fact that they'll get this loads of cash by selling Bale, and they might reinvest some of that. They wanted to buy Willian, with Chelsea, I think, has stepped in the last minute and probably got away. That deal has gone away from them, but I think they will still sign some quality players. Eric Lamela is one who's being touted right now from Roma, who I think is a very very good prospect at 21-year-old, and so that is the reason I think it is going to be Chelsea, United, and Spurs. But even I believe that probably Liverpool this season will finish ahead of Arsenal, and they might give Spurs a run for their money. But Liverpool, I think maybe it's just a season too early, so I would expect Spurs to edge out Liverpool and finish fourth, and then Liverpool at fifth and Arsenal at probably sixth.
Possible. I mean,
So the other prediction which we wanted to make,
the most unimpressive team so far, Everton. They lack inspiration. I think if nothing, these
yeah,
two matches will enhance the exit of Fellaini and Messrs. Fellaini and Baines. I mean, there's nothing to play for there. They were totally lackluster yesterday against West Ham. They didn't have any ideas.
correct.
I think that is one team that's going down. And Arsenal, though I would have said that this is Wenger's best chance and probably his last chance, I think they're going down out of the top four as well. So I
Correct.
would I would agree with it's Liverpool and Spurs right now, depending on who messes it up first.
Correct, correct. And the other prediction which we wanted to make, and I know it's too early because even the qualifiers are not on right now, but based on a few games which have gone on, on the continent, in the Italian league obviously just started yesterday, but the German league and the Spanish league, make a prediction. As I said, as early as it may sound, but make a prediction for the Champions League. Which team on the continent is looking the most powerful right now, Vikram? So who's your favorite?
I would say I would say Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund from Germany,
Mm-hmm.
Juventus from Italy,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely the Real Madrid and Barcelona. I think it's going to be between these five teams. I mean, Borussia is an outsider, but
Mm-hmm.
and so is Juve. I would say it should be between Bayern, Real, and Barcelona. Honestly,
Correct, and I think I wouldn't disagree with you. Yeah, if somebody was to ask you me this, I think even for me, I think it'll be between Bayern, Madrid, and Barcelona. Given how strong these teams are, with Bale going to Real Madrid, they're only going to get stronger. And we still haven't seen much of Martino, Tata Martino from Barcelona, but
right.
Ancelotti and Pep are certainly proven coaches in the Champions League. Both have two Champions Leagues to their names, and I think purely on those facts and the fact that, as I said, how strong their squads are, I would say it is Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and Real Madrid. One out of those three.
If I have to really pick an outsider, I'll go with PSG. Just because of the amount of money they've spent. uh,
Yeah.
but I'm afraid now the English teams really measure up. I've been watching Bundesliga for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing Buy and Play. It comes on Neo Sports in India. and I've
Correct.
seen Borussia Dortmund play, and I must tell you, we are nowhere near. I have a feeling that it's going to be between these German teams, Juve and the Spanish teams. I think the English teams have a lot of ground to cover. Germany, for example, did you know that the German Bayern Munich and the other German teams are made up of almost 65% German nationals, while in a
Correct.
typical EPL team, it's 35% Englishmen. So
Yep.
you take your pick. These are guys who play with each other, play against each other, as well as play with each other in the Bundesliga, as well as they play for the national squad.
Correct.
I think I think it's going to be a very difficult German wave to stop these next couple of years.
Correct. I agree as well. All right. So with that, we'll wrap up this episode, and we'll looking forward to the match tomorrow. And when we meet up next week, we'll obviously do a little bit of a review of the game which happened between United and Chelsea, and look
All
forward
right.
to next week's games. Thank you so much, Vikram.
Thank you, Kunal. See you. Bye.
Bye bye.